What's going on, everybody, and welcome on in to episode 313 of the Garage Beers podcast, brought to you proudly here on the OBR streaming network. Again, the OBR is your home for the oldest, largest independent Browns coverage site in all of the land. So make sure you get over to the OBR.com, you hit subscribe, and you can join the mess. I'm on the message boards all the time. It's a good time over there. Lots of good info, lots of good conversations. And you get stuff from the insiders, you get Rumor Central, all that stuff happens at the OBR.com, plus the great written content. And you get the OBR streaming network where 4 nights a week, still, even in the dog days of the off season, we got shows coming at you. And then Wednesday, we bring you this fun show on Garage Beers where we crack open a beer and we talk about, we're going to talk about the Browns tonight. First time we've done that in a while, really. But we're also going to talk about the Guardians a little bit. And at about 9:30 tonight, we're going to have Tim Alcorn, the radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, what I thought was going to be a very celebratory type of environment for that conversation. Things changed pretty dramatically last night, but we'll get into all that at 9:30 with Tim Alcorn. And we've got a lot more coming. So we're glad you're here. We're glad you're joining us. And we hope you have a good time. If you're watching us on X or Facebook or YouTube or Twitch or wherever you're catching us, jump into the comments. Feel free to join the show. And, you know, we like to interact with you throughout the whole show, so make sure you are tuned in there. With you, as always, I'm your host, Michael Keefe. Find me online at Garage Beers Mike, and joining me out in Seattle, Washington, find him online at Garage Beers Joe, sort of. It's Joey Whalen. What's up, Joe?
What's up? I've enjoyed the past week of just complete obliteration of the city of Detroit.
I know.
I mean, just on both sides with the Cavs in Game 7. We have the first 2 games of this Guardians-Tigers series are looking very good. Third game, a little bit of a nail-biter, but it looks like we might work out of it here momentarily.
Oh, yeah, we'll see.
What we did?
Did
we?
we?
Did.
Did it happen? Yeah, we did. All right,
it
good.
Worked
yeah,
out of it. On to extras. So,
it's been fun, hasn't it?
Living off that.
And actually, I got a buddy. He's one of my best friends, just one of the best dudes I know. I actually saw him tonight. He lives in Toledo, huge Detroit guy. Like all the way, everything Detroit. And he's a great sports fan, but man, he loves to talk shit. And so the game happened last night, and he's still salty, obviously, over the Cavs beating the Pistons. And he sends me a text this morning, something like something about their choke job or something about how bad. I don't remember. I don't even remember. But I remember going back to him going, what did you watch it with the Pistons? Were you watching it with the Pistons? Because they're at home watching it because of the Cavs. Don't try to talk to me. And I saw him tonight. They're in Berea for his daughter's softball game. And I went out just to hang out for about an hour. And I was like, what are you talking shit about? Oh, he likes to he's like, oh, great. Now my TikTok's going to have your video on it again. Like when the Cavs beat Detroit, he's like, that's at least 4 more of your videos I got to watch. Yeah. So then I went back to him and I'm like, oh, hey, do you want me to start making Tigers recap videos of the last couple games? Do you want me to make some Tigers recap videos? I like owning rival cities.
Michigan.
I like it.
Yeah. Just love it.
It's part of
Tigers are a bit on the ropes.
Tigers are a bit
on the ropes. I mean,
they
are just
idiots.
It's horrible. And even when they had like Carpenter in the lineup, he wasn't producing. It's not like they're missing anything from these injuries. It's like they are just bad. Except Riley Green.
Who's fine.
Leading the AL in batting right now.
Yeah. Obviously Tarek Skubal out. That's really bad for them.
Tough.
But if anybody else was playing well, like let's say other guys were playing well, but they were just losing games, you could be like, yeah, having Tarek Skubal out is really hurting them right now. And it certainly is hurting them. But like, so Tarek Skubal is going to come in. What's he going to do better than what they did tonight? They gave up a run in the ninth. It's 1-1 in the 10th inning. It's not going to get much better than that. And that offense is brutal. And they thought they had a great offense, and they do not.
Yeah. They're going to have a heck of a hole to dig out of when they start getting healthy.
Yeah. But I'm with you though. I love it's part of like, for me, when people talk about, I think this happens especially in college sports, when they talk about like, oh, well, we want our conference opponents to win. We want them to win. I never want my conference opponent. I never want my rivals to win anything. I want
No.
Detroit to lose every game they play in every sport. I never want the Pittsburgh Steelers to win a game or Baltimore or Cincinnati. I want them to lose every game they play. There is no rival, even in college where like rankings matter and all that. You think I ever want Texas to win games? You think I ever want Michigan? No, I would love to see them with 0 wins.
Yeah.
Miss me with that rivalry stuff. I do not like. And there's a triple for Angel Martinez. So the Guardians have the lead and I'm runner at third with no out. So that's huge. Anyways, listen, again, I said we got a big show coming up. You will notice that Chad's not here. This may be a thing for a little bit because Chad is coaching baseball and they've got late practice on Wednesday nights, I think, at least until the season starts. And then he probably won't have that anymore.
They did 2 days with the kids. Come on.
I don't know. But he will be here. He said sometime within this first half hour, he's going to show up. So Chad will be here to join this because we got some fun stuff to do. We're going to do a Cleveland sports villains draft at the end of the show. Again, we got Tim Alcorn coming up in just under 20 minutes. But I want to start with, we got to start with our garage beers of the week. So Joe, crack it open for us. What's your garage beer?
Correct. We got a bunch of beer in the fridge that I've had on before, so we're just going to keep rolling with that. I got the Top Cutter IPA by Bale Breaker. It looks like this. This is a beer in a glass. It looks very beerish.
Yes.
I got to tell you, tastes pretty beerish to me.
It's tasting like beer.
Doubled down a left field.
Oh, my gosh.
Left center gap, so.
Get it, Gardos.
Go Guards.
Oh, that's great. I love just keep beating Detroit.
Oh my gosh, they're playing so well right now. It's so fun to be a Guards fan. Good hat choice, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? I noticed that on YouTube. Looks great on both of us. All right, so you got your beer. I am going to give a shout out to my wife, who is also your sister. She was on a work trip last week. She was gone all week up to Grand Rapids. And if you're familiar with Grand Rapids, Michigan, it's known as the microbrew capital of the U.S. And she hit up a couple of them and decided to bring me some back. So she went to New Holland, and I'm really excited for this. And I picked this one because it's probably gonna get dark when we have to talk. Not when we have to talk. When we get to talk to Tim Alcorn, but we have to talk about last night's game. So she brought this beer back for me. This is the bourbon barrel aged Dragon's Milk Reserve S'mores beer.
Whoa. Dragon's Milk Reserve. I love Dragon's Milk. Oh my gosh.
I do too. I am trying to find this. I'm going to guess the alcohol content on this is super exciting. I don't know what it is. Once I find it, I'll say, oh, it's 11. It's 11%. It's not terrible. But as you would imagine, it looks like that. And I haven't tried it yet, but I'm really excited for it. Holy crap. Holy crap. All right. That beer is delicious. That is the Dragon's Milk Reserve S'mores from New Holland Brewing. And that is phenomenal. All right. So those are our garage beers of the week. Get into the comments. Let us know what your garage beers of the week are this week. And we'll flash those up. But now it's time for us to dive in to episode 313. And we're going to start with the Cleveland Browns. And we'll spend the next probably 15 minutes doing this. What was that? What'd you just yell?
Browns. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah, the Browns.
Oh, my
God. But what we want to talk about, let's have a little bit of fun with this. We're not doing the schedule game. You know, we don't do that until we have Cameron Justice on right before the season starts. But the schedule did come out. I don't know if you saw the video. They did the Street Fighter video. I give it like a B.
Yeah, I was going to give it 5 out of 10.
It was funnish.
You know, it's man, we could do a whole segment on these schedule release videos. I don't know how I feel about them because some of them are like truly good and like funny and like enjoyable to watch, but most of them are not good.
I think the Browns, here's where I think the Browns have been good at it. I think the Browns have been pretty high on creativity with theirs. Like, I don't think they're always going for just straight funny. Right? Like, in my opinion, nothing will ever top what the Tennessee Titans did when they just went and showed the logos to random people out on Broadway. And they were like, what team is this? And it was just like the worst answers. Clearly people had no
They
idea.
did a pretty good one this year too. They did a doppelganger on Broadway.
The Titans are funny, but they just have a built-in collection in Nashville of morons. Yeah. It's like, hey, we want to interview morons because it's always funny, and just go to Broadway, and you're just going to find a slew of morons. I think the Browns usually try to go more like creative on theirs. They've done some funny ones. That Pete Weber video they did was all-time great.
That was good.
All-time great. But let's talk about the Browns schedule. And what we're going to do is just kind of go through it and just talk about like kind of the most interesting thing about each matchup. And by the way, here's the comments rolling in. I was wondering where everybody was. Chef Brian K's here. Hey, Mike. Hey, Joe. What's up, Chef Brian K? Noddy says, idea fine, execution, Matt. Okay. All right. That's fine. But here's the schedule, and you will see, I think right off the bat, one of the most interesting things happens. And that is that the Cleveland Browns in September, the middle of September, are going to start their season with back-to-back games in Florida, as they are going week 1 to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars, and then they're going week 2 to Tampa to take on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And right off the bat, I don't know whether I think it's good that they're going to Florida early, or whether I'm mad about it.
I feel like you kind of want those games later in the year, right? Get out of the cold a little bit. I don't think it does a lot of preferable weather treatment to go there in September. It's probably be hot as shit, to be honest.
Blistering.
So hot.
But also, I do feel like maybe this is just because the Browns lose everywhere they go. So maybe this is just not a good opinion. But I feel like when you play a Florida team later in the year, I'm almost mad that we're on the road, because I'm like, we're the ones that get some kind of advantage if it's cold against a Florida team.
Yeah, true.
But I also think, here's where I think I'm not so mad about it. They're going to be coming off brutal hot practice season.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be hot here. It's not going to be Florida hot, but it's going to be hot. And they're going to be out there practicing, so they're going to kind of be used to it. I think you hit Florida, again, it's not hot down there, hot. It's not 100 and some down there later in the year. But I think you hit Florida later in the year, and the heat could affect you a little bit differently because you're used to cold temperatures.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I almost feel like being on the road in Florida early kind of takes away the heat advantage, because we're dealing with heat and so are they.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, you think about like stupid, like cramping injuries like that. I feel like it hits you harder in the winter months because you're not in the heat. Your body's not used to losing as much fluid when you're practicing in Berea in December versus practicing or playing in Jacksonville in December.
Right.
And so, yeah, it can have a little impact to it. Yeah.
Listen, I love this. Shout out to Phil. Phil's going to roll in the Tampa game to a visit with his in-laws in Clearwater. Love that. And then Chef Brian K with a very funny comment. Sounds fun, at least half of it. It's up to you to decide which half he meant, a visit with the in-laws or the Browns game. One of those two.
Yeah, honestly.
Sounds like fun.
Either way.
And of course, Phil says, I don't mind my in-laws. That's awesome. All right. So interesting thing about the Jaguars game. The Jaguars were good last year. I don't think there's any reason to think they're not going to be good this year. So I think the Browns open with a challenge right off the bat. I don't know that I see a reason. I think there's questions on the Jaguars defensively, especially that secondary. Again, go down there and try to pick on Greg Newsome, depending on who's throwing the ball. Obviously, you're going to see the new Browns, the new wide receiving core, all that stuff. But I think this is one of the bigger challenges that I see on the schedule. And I love to pick on Jacksonville, but they're coming off a great year. Trevor Lawrence coming off a really good year. They seem to have found something with their new head coach last year. And I think this is one of their tougher games.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that. I mean, I just have a hard time believing that they'll maintain any sort of consistency in Jacksonville. I don't know. I don't see it on paper in that roster, but they played incredible last year. I don't want to take that away from them, but it's kind of fun to have this matchup of like our closest trade partner over the past 3 seasons. What is it? Somewhere around there. We have multiple picks, and obviously, the Newsome trade.
I am an idiot.
There's a
Greg
lot
Newsome is with the Giants. I don't know why I forgot that. I'm an idiot. Shout out.
Was that in the
Shout out
offseason?
to Nutty.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. Yep.
all right. Well, it's kind of fun to see like who wins those trades, and
Yeah.
I agree. It depends on who's throwing the ball. I don't know if there's any good option that makes me feel like, oh yeah, that gives us the edge against Jacksonville. But I'm excited to see the new wide receiver core come out. I think that'll be a good coming out party. Low expectations for that first game right now.
Yeah. Then you go to Tampa, and obviously the thing most people are going to bring up as an interesting point about the Tampa game is going to be Baker. But I think there's a lot of interesting things here when you talk about the Bucs. They're not going to have Mike Evans for the first time in forever. They've still got a good receiving core. You're going to have to watch out for Ibuka, and we'll see if, we'll see how the rest of the team plays from receiver. But I personally think this will be a really fun matchup because assuming Spencer Fano is your starting left tackle, this could be Reuben Bain, the outstanding edge rusher from Miami that got taken by Tampa in the first round of the draft against Spencer Fano, going head-to-head in that game. I think that could be one of the most fun things to watch.
Yeah, no doubt. It's always fun to watch Baker play, and especially in a revenge game, there's going to be some extra swagger on his side. So we'll see how that plays out during the game. But he does have Stefanski to chirp to on our side this year. He gets to see him twice a year with Atlanta. So maybe the heat won't be as bad between him and the Browns. But I think that'll be a really good matchup. That Tampa Bay offense is really, really fun to watch at times, especially when Baker's slinging it. So I think that's it'll be a really good test of our secondary, and to see kind of where we're at in the season, facing one of the probably the most prolific offensive threat we have all season.
Nah, I don't know about that.
I mean, from a throwing perspective, what?
Maybe
Cincinnati?
Yeah, for sure.
Might be better.
100%. Baltimore will be better. Yes.
Yeah, but we own Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, so it's like, I don't know.
That's fair. That's a good point. All right. Then they come home. And so it's a 2-week roadie to start the year in Florida. Then they come home. They get one game at home in September, and that is against the NFC South reigning champions, the Carolina Panthers. You've got the offensive rookie of the year, Ted McMillan, coming in. Bryce Young kind of found himself a little bit last year, although I don't think he was ever really all that good. They had that was wild Rico Dowdle experience where he just was amazing for like the season. They tried to improve their defense. They tried to improve their offensive line. So I think this is an interesting one. Again, it's a division champion, but I don't know if I'm trusting that again this year. I think maybe the most interesting thing about this matchup is how do the Browns and the secondary, how do they deal with Ted McMillan and the offensive rookie of the year going into his second year?
Yeah, I kind of feel it's almost like two teams on a very similar plane. Just one has a division title because their division sucks. But, I think skill-wise, not skill-wise, just maybe team play-wise, they're probably on par with each other. I still think the Browns have just such a stupidly phenomenal roster year on year, and they suck with it. But on paper,
they don't have a quarterback
roster. Yeah, I mean it's huge. it's a huge gap.
It's a big part of it.
Piece of parchment, man. But I mean, on paper, I take the Browns 10 out of 10 times against the Panthers.
Yeah,
I agree. Ted McMillan's like the threat of that roster, but other than that, I like that matchup for us.
All right, then we stay at home Thursday night football. So a short week, Thursday, October 1st. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, they got to wait forever for Aaron Rodgers to be like, yeah, I'll totally come back and play football again. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be quarterbacking the defending AFC North champion Pittsburgh Steelers. They famously wanted a wide receiver in the draft, and they overshot their shot, and they wound up with who I think is going to be a pretty good offensive lineman. I just don't know if he's going to be ready. Ball game Guardians, shout out to them. So they've taken the first three from Detroit. What's the most interesting thing about this? It's Pittsburgh. It's Thursday night. I actually think the Browns are pretty good against Pittsburgh historically on Thursday night football.
Yep.
And it's in Cleveland. This is no matter how, unless the first three games go 0-3, which obviously is very possible. But if the Browns come away 1-2, 2-1, whatever, out of those first three games, I think this is a chance for the Browns to like kind of make a statement and say like, okay, we have this phenomenal roster, and now we figured out how to get just at least mediocre quarterback play. And with that, and I know I'm making assumptions here, but with that, we can win a bunch of games. And I think if this is their chance to be like, yeah, you won the division, but Aaron Rodgers isn't going to beat us. We're not worried about anybody on this offense. DK Metcalf, all right, fine. He'll do whatever he does, but we're going to come in and we're going to take care of business against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like this to me is like a statement game opportunity.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is like, I think that will be the test that either this game will be the straw that breaks the camel back, or like gives us a little hope to be like, okay, like maybe they got something this season. I think, the first 2 games are going to be very tough. I think the most winnable game is obviously the Carolina game, but against the Steelers, I agree, on Thursday night at home, like they have a good shot of maybe making some noise here. And you have Aaron Rodgers on his farewell tour, so you got to make a statement against him.
There's nothing very inspiring about him, and to be honest, there's not a lot inspiring about the Mike McCarthy team. And so we'll see how that goes with the Steelers. We're going to go to the end of this column here, because I knew this was going to take a minute, but I see our special guest just popped into the background too.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
He's just one of our favorites, and I'm not going to make him sit here and watch us go through the rest of this nonsense. We have other nonsense to get to, but let's go to the Jets real quick. And it's a vastly different team. I don't know that it's a vastly better team, but it's a vastly different team. Geno Smith was going to be the quarterback, unless for some reason Cade Klubnik wins the job. Breece Hall, we know, had a career year. Garrett Wilson, we'll see if he's healthy at this point. They brought in Omar Cooper. They brought in Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end. They brought in David Bailey, the edge rusher. So they got 3 really good players in the first round of the draft. But again, to me, and they stole my favorite player in the draft, D'Angelo Pons, out of Indiana, which really pisses me off. But I think they're going to be a better team than they were. I just don't see. They're kind of like on a Browns trajectory almost. Like they're building up their roster,
God
but
bless
there's
them.
no quarterback there. Like the Browns roster is really built up kind of at this point. They just need the quarterback. The Jets need several more pieces, but the big one is still a quarterback. Geno can do Geno things, but what's the most interesting thing? I think we may just go back to kind of the most interesting thing about the Buccaneers game, which is you're going to get one of the top edge rushers in the class in David Bailey going up against Spencer Fano. I mean, he's just going to keep getting tested over and over again. And here's another chance for him to show what he's worth.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a much younger roster, and I agree. It's like the Browns of like, I can't even say 2 years ago, because like I feel like every year we have these expectations for this team, but like they're a shadow of the Browns right now. Geno is not going to do Geno things against this defense. I have the utmost confidence in saying that. I hope we can score against them.
Yeah. All right. Then the last one we'll talk about right now. It'll be October 18th against the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens' new coach, Jesse Minter. They got Lamar, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry. The offense is still going to be pretty good, even though it's a whole new coaching staff. Defensively, they should have been punished for what they did. They brought in Max Crosby. They backed out of Max Crosby. They brought in Trey Hendrickson, but they did get better at their pass rush position, which was not very good with Baltimore. So they improved a weakness. It's going to be a really good roster, and it's going to be a really good Ravens team. To me, the interesting kind of new thing about this matchup is you've got some of these young dudes on defense, Carson Schlesinger. The guy that I'm really going to look at, I think this could be maybe a coming out party for Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. This kid is an incredibly instinctual player. He just always is in the right place at the right time, and he's that kind of safety that can play both deep and be up in the box. And I think this is his chance to kind of be an up in the box safety who is maybe preventing Lamar from making big plays, maybe making some hits on Derrick Henry, hopefully clean hits that don't result in any injuries. But I think this could be I'm going to be very interested to see Emmanuel McNeil-Warren in this first game against the Ravens, because I think he's a player that's kind of built to play against the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm really excited for the Ravens matchups this year. I think, I think historically they just have always had our number. But it's a bit of an aging team. I mean, Lamar Jackson is losing is going to be losing his running elusiveness. Maybe this season, but definitely over the next couple seasons. Derrick Henry is not a spry young man that he was in Alabama or in Tennessee. And, there's definitely going to be some injury concerns with both of those guys. And, I'd be impressed if they made it through the entire season without missing some games here. And so I think we can start having an edge on this team a little bit. So I'm really excited to see what comes of our Ravens matchups this year.
Well, we'll steamroll through the rest of this in just a bit, but I see our special guest in the background. I'm guessing he's exhausted. I'm guessing he's almost borderline tired of talking about what happened last night, but we're going to do it anyways, and we're going to talk about moving forward. But we're going to bring in one of our absolute favorites. Again, if you know this show, he was our very first ever special guest. He's certainly one of our most frequent special guests, a mentor to me, a good friend, an overall great guy, and a guy I still need to go get a tiki drink with at some point. But let's maybe let this Cavs season finish, and then we'll do that. But let's bring him in right now. It's the radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers. It's Tim Alcorn. What's going on, Tim?
How you doing, man? It's good to hear from you. When we going to Porco's?
Hey, listen, I want to get you through the season, get you some relaxing time, and then we get to Porco's, okay?
All right, that's the deal, man. Great to be with you guys. Always fun, man. I love coming on this.
How's the setup there in New York? They got you up at the Plaza Hotel?
I'm not allowed to say what hotel
No,
I'm
I
at.
know that.
But we're doing okay. And listen, the sun came up this morning.
Yeah.
Life goes on. And for the Cavaliers, let's hope they have short memory. I think they do, and I think they're going to come out tomorrow night and respond just fine.
So Tim, I didn't even ask because I know you're busy. You're doing a lot of shows. You got your games. You've had no breaks. You've had zero breaks. But did you bring? You usually bring a beer on. Did you find a beer to bring on, or do we not have one tonight?
No,
I figured it was a long shot.
I just left the team dinner. I do have ice cream.
Hell yes, that is the first time anybody's brought in garage ice creams.
I got my ice cream. 9:30 at night. What else would I have?
Hell yes, I love it. All right, so Tim, it's been. I don't know what. Give me a word for you. I've got a couple words that pop into my head. But give me a word for you that describes the Cavaliers' playoff run so far.
One word. Wow. There's a few. It's been exhilarating. It has. I mean, it's been maddening. Maybe that's another word. I don't know if those two words go together, but
kind of
the up and down of these series has just been incredible. The highs, the lows. I was talking to somebody within the organization during the Detroit series, and they're like, the emotional toll that it takes, because when you lose a game, you feel like the world has ended. Like, oh, we're not going to win another game. Like, we're done. And then when you win a game, you're thinking, wow, we're going to win the NBA championship. I mean, it's incredible. The wave of emotions that you feel, and you try to even those things out. So exhilarating in the fact that it's just so much emotion, but maddening in the fact, just as a pure basketball guy, the play has been so up and down with the Cavaliers, and you can't quite figure out why they haven't been able to put things together consistently.
Isn't that the charm of the postseason though? Like, isn't that like my word is consistent? They're consistently just erratic and inconsistent. And you can expect just something wild each night with one of these games, like on one spectrum or the other, from one quarter to the next, like every game. I don't know if there's like a singular game, maybe aside from Game 7 against Detroit, that we've consistently put together 4 quarters of good basketball. And so it's kind of like we're just expecting the unexpected each night, and somehow they're still pushing through. And it's they're giving you some of the best basketball you've seen, and then definitely some of the worst.
Joe, it's a great point. And I think Kenny Atkinson has even brought that up, that there hasn't been that consistent level of play throughout a game, except, as you just said, Game 7 against Detroit. I'll tell you what, I thought for 40, 41 minutes last night, the Cavs played as good as they could play. I mean, schematically, strategically, everything I think they had put into the game plan. Not that I see the game plan before the game, but it was working. I mean, they pretty much took Karl Anthony Towns out of the ball game. They had Jalen Brunson held in check. Offensively, they were doing some things that were efficient. They had some turnovers. Again, that's going to happen, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But they had some turnovers. But for the most part, I thought the offense was running pretty well. And then the roof caved in those final 7 minutes. So, but I thought for 40 to 41 minutes last night, they played pretty good basketball.
We do have a suggestion from one of our very favorite people in the comments. Phil is not about to put some bourbon from the mini bar in that ice cream, Tim. Let's go. I don't know how the Cavs feel about those mini bar chargers.
Yeah, well, Phil, if you want to pay for that bourbon in the mini bar, yeah, I'll send the tab to you.
Yeah, you know what those New York mini bar bourbons cost? Woo! Yeah, you can have a full night.
Man, there goes my per diem.
Tim, my word is that this whole process, as enjoyable as it is to be one of the Final Four teams, and you should never take that for granted, right? Like, God, Tim, you were sitting there watching us talk about the Browns. Well, we have this Cavaliers team that's one of the Final Four teams in the NBA. You got to be grateful for that. It's also just been a grind. You brought it up, that emotional roller coaster, ups and downs. And, there's nights where I got to remind myself, like, don't yell at the kids, right? Like, it's not that big of a deal. But it has been a grind from a fan perspective. From somebody who cares and loves the team, it is just one thing after the next. And this team, Tim, and it's the word I used to describe them last night after the game, there's a bipolar element of this team. It's like there's two ways that they play. And when they play one way, they're unbeatable. I really think they're unbeatable. I think the Spurs are going to lose to them if they play that way. I think the Thunder, while I think they're amazing, could lose to them while they play that way. I certainly think the Knicks can lose to them when they play that way. And the other way, they're never going to win games. And unfortunately, it feels to me like, and I compared it to the Star Wars, the dark side, like they're drawn to the way that they don't win games. And I've loved listening to you. First of all, it's been very fun listening to you and Serena, and especially Jonesy, right? On his kind of farewell tour on the radio. But I think he's actually been so good at calling this out. This Cavaliers team, for some godforsaken reason, Tim, and it happened last night, falls in love with the idea that they're just going to dribble out the shot clock and take a three. Dribble it out, take a three. Dribble it out, take a three. Get across midcourt, dribble it out, take a three. It's why they lost the game last night. It is, yes, you could say maybe they should have defended differently on Jalen Brunson, and we could certainly talk about Kenny Atkinson a little bit here, and I've rarely ever criticized him, but I think he deserves a little from last night. But what is it? Like, what are you watching that makes you feel like is causing them to see, like, look at all the success we're having driving to the hoop, those dribble drives. They're so good at the interior passing, those little pocket passes they make. I think they're the best team in the league at that. They're so good at getting the big guys going underneath, and then the kick out to wide open shooters, and then they just stop playing that way. What is the explanation for that?
Well, I used the word earlier. It can be maddening because, to your point, as Jim points out during the broadcast, and I'm sure as listeners are dialing in and listening to me call the game, I don't pretend to paint a perfect picture, but I think I can call when that ball is moving and when it's going from side to side and in and out and cross court and skip passes and that sort of thing, compared to harden on the dribble. I mean, so yeah, it gets stagnant, and I can't put a finger on why that's happening. Believe me, not that I'm going to go running to Kenny Atkins and saying, "Here's my idea."
Would you?
But yeah, I'm sure if it's maddening to me, it's frustrating to Kenny as well. And then to your point, Mike, the fact that, as Jim always says, the money's in the paint. The money's in the paint. And they'll get Evan, they'll get Jared going early, and then all of a sudden they become infatuated with the three ball. So, and that seems to have been the case all season long. So why, to your point, is it like a homer to the sirens, I guess? If that's the analogy, I don't know. But they do seem to fall in love with that, and it does seem to come back to bite them. And I do think that's what happened down the stretch last night. I think there was a myriad of things that happened in that last 7.5 minutes last night. But that was one of them. And I do think, give some credit to the Knicks. I think once things started to snowball on the Cavs and they saw 22 cut to 18, 14, now the Cavs started pressing, not literally in a basketball game, but they started pressing at the offensive end. They started forcing things. They started rushing things. I mean, there were shots that went up long before they had to go up. Not that you want to run it down to 2 or 1 seconds on a shot clock, but they were forcing shots. I think they were trying so hard to get a bucket to stop the run that they got away from what they were doing. And I think that was one of a combination of things that happened.
But I listened to the game. I can't remember what game it was. Was it game 3 or 4 where Detroit erased a 17-point lead in like 2 minutes? Like I was listening to you and Jonesy, and they just erased the lead. Do you remember that game? And I remember listening to
3.
I think it was
3. Yeah,
it was 3 because it was the game that finally James Harden like woke up in that game and played great down the stretch, and they won that game. But I'm listening to Jonesy. There is this, and I think that's part of the frustration is there is this thing with them that when they get up big, I'm thinking about last night's game. 2 more dunks, 2 more of those pocket passes to Jared Allen for just the easy putback or easy lay-in, easy dunk, or Evan Mobley for the easy lay-in or easy dunk. 2 more of those, and they win that game. It ends, it snaps it for New York. They don't have a chance. And it just, so then it brings me to this. And I think I want to know what you thought. And I know you as a part of an organization. I don't want to say anything too crazy, but I want to know what you thought about some of the comments you heard after the game, because I don't know why are you not trying to take control of this? Kenny, I love Kenny Atkinson. I have been a big supporter of his since they brought him in. But when you see what the run get to, it was like 15-1 before a timeout got called. And there's got to be a sense of guys, we're not, whoa, what are we doing? We are not playing our brand of basketball all of a sudden. And we need to get back into it. And it's like he thought they were going to play their way out of it. And instead they dug their heels a little deeper in. And then I heard his comments afterwards and he kind of backed it up. And I thought, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this, Tim. You want your coach to you saw it in the Detroit series. And people can say whatever they want about JB Bickerstaff, but you saw it a couple times in the Detroit series where the Cavs would make a run, or especially those first couple games where Detroit was up big, the Cavs made a run, JB called the timeout, and what happened after the timeout? The Pistons took control of those games and went and won them. It stopped the run. It's not saying that's guaranteed to happen, but it just felt like everything was so passive last night. Like everything was good, then it started going off the rails, and then we're like, well, we'll just see if we figure it out. And that's probably too simplistic, but that's what it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Kenny was being evasive when he said after the ball game, I have a philosophy, and my philosophy is to hold on to timeouts. And we've all been around coaches long enough that philosophically, if they believe one thing or a couple of things, and it's part of their coaching pedigree, and it's what makes them a coach, very rarely will they veer off of that. For example, if the Cavs are up 3 and the other team has the ball, Kenny's fouling, right? That's his philosophy on it. I am fouling. I'm not going to give them a chance. So if his philosophy is, I want a timeout or 2 coming down the stretch, no matter what that run is, then that's his philosophy. Now, last night, believe me, I was sitting there calling the game going, well, I didn't on the air, but I'm thinking, I might want to get a timeout. But again, I'm not in Kenny's mind. I don't have
Right.
his, Kenny's philosophy book in front of me. So, and I'm sure he was thinking the same thing that you were just talking about, Mike, that, man, if we just get a bucket to stem the tide here. It didn't happen. Now, tomorrow night, does he take a timeout when the Knicks go? And they will. When they go on a run, he probably will. But, I have to take Kenny at his word that he wants that timeout. He wants that timeout in his pocket if it's coming down the stretch, because I've called games where the other team doesn't have a timeout. They have burned their timeouts. And now you get into the last 90 seconds, 2 minutes of a game, they don't have a timeout to take. So there's a yin and a yang there. But, yeah, as a fan, I'm sure you're going, call timeout. But if his philosophy is we're going to fight through this, we're not going to blow a 22-point lead, but then it didn't happen anyway. That's just the way he coaches the game. And I don't know if you're going to change him on that.
All right, we're going to talk about one more thing where I have to vent a frustration, and then we're going to get into the rest of the series where I want to get back into optimism because I love this team too much, and it's so fun to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. But we got to look forward. But before we do that, it feels like now we're bringing in a special guest. But he finally got the kid to bed, so we got to get him in. It's Chad Meyer. Chad, hey, welcome to the podcast that started 45 minutes ago.
Hey guys, did I miss anything? Is Tim here yet?
You missed my ice cream. I got ice cream.
All right.
No beer.
Yes.
Tim got ice cream, and Phil is not a bot in the comments. Volunteered to pay for the bourbon
mint
from the mini bar.
Where's my camera? How about that mint schoolyard mint chip? Huh?
Ooh. All right. Hey, listen, guys. I know. You got one more frustration event, Mike. But I'm coming on the podcast with breaking news. That would be of interest to all three of you. Actually, is the Cavaliers' partner in crime at Rocket Arena, the Cleveland Monsters, are now 1 win away from the Eastern Conference Finals after a 4-0 win up in Toronto tonight. They took a 2-1 series lead, so 1 win away from returning to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Leave it to a hockey team from Toronto to choke in the playoffs.
Hey-o. Yeah, but seriously, my daughter's a klutz. That's why I'm late.
Okay.
Yeah, she everything was going great. Everything was going great, and we got home from practice. I said, "All right, we got to go shower. We got to go to bed." So, and if you walk in, my laundry room walks in this way. You make a right, and it goes into a hallway where our bedroom is. My wife's bedroom is. The cat was in there. She likes to go pet the cat. She thought I went upstairs. She thought. And I'm messing with the laundry, like trying to put a load of laundry in. All of a sudden I hear, and then she did like a head first dive into the drywall under the side of the steps. And I go, what the hell just happened? And yeah, so there was a lot of tears, a lot of ice in the ankle. And so, yeah, that's actually the biggest reason why I'm late. It wasn't really bad because she goes to bed pretty quickly. She falls asleep pretty quickly, but it's her tripping over her own feet, I guess, is why I'm pretty late. But I'm here. I'm glad to be here. Tim, great to see you, as always.
Great to see you. Always
Joey?
Great to see you.
Yeah, Joey, you too. Mike, you're there. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say I hope Garage Beers Hazel feels better, and I'm still gonna put that on her. But
for sure.
I hope you headbutt the. Well, actually, if you headbutt the drywall, you're gonna need a whole new half the house.
It would crumble. The foundation would crumble.
Tim, all right. My last frustration before we go forward, and a lot of people are gonna bring this up, and it's the way James Harden has played throughout some of this, and. Obviously, he's getting up there. He's not in his prime anymore. He's almost 40 years old. But here's my question for you. At least give me your opinion on this. James was rough last night. And I've said through this process, you can win. You have a great shot at winning if you get good James Harden. You can win games with like mediocre James Harden. Just like take Game 7. Game 7, James, he had certain impacts on the game, but he was kind of out of the flow of the offense a little bit. But that was okay. It was all right because everybody else was picking it up. You're really going to struggle to win games if you get bad James Harden. You get turnover-prone James Harden. You get wild shots, contested shots. I feel like last night, I felt like he always thought he was just going to be able to take that step-back three-pointer and make it. and he didn't, and he couldn't. And my question is, at some point when New York is very clearly trying to involve him on the offensive side, or on the Cavs defensive side, they're trying to get him in every action. And you heard Mike Brown talk about it after the game. And I hope the Cavaliers heard this too. And I especially hope James Harden heard this, because there's got to be a bruised ego to this, where Mike Brown was talking about how when he was in Golden State, they would count James Harden dribbles. And he was kind of poking fun at him a little bit, almost like, when James gets dribbling, like, we're comfortable. But at this point in his career, I'm not really sure, when he's playing the way he was playing last night, that I agree that he needs to be on the floor. Like, I know he can still make big plays at all times, but like, Max Strus is a high energy player that maybe could have brought a little bit something down the stretch, or Sam Merrill or whatever. What are your thoughts? I know James Harden's going to be a Hall of Famer. I know he's made some big plays, and frankly, I know that he's had games where he's started off really bad and then finished really good, like that game 3 where they beat Detroit. But like last night's game, he was out there for every minute coming down the stretch, the overtime, and there was very little contribution. There were turnovers. Defensively, he was getting his you-know-what kicked. Just what are your thoughts on, like, do you think he should just be out there at all times?
Well, to me, it's hard to say that a guy who's been in the playoffs all 17 years of his career, and a guy who's a surefire Hall of Famer, one of the NBA's 75th anniversary team members, isn't going to play in the stretch run. I mean, teams make mistakes, guys make mistakes. And James Harden, I thought last night, I thought the shot clock wound down too much when the ball was in James's hands. But guys have to move as well. And I thought the Cavs got stagnant offensively. You didn't see, and people that were listening perhaps weren't hearing the movement where guys were slashing. I think when James gets into that dribble mode that you just alluded to, Mike, Cavalier players just tend to stand and watch.
Yeah.
They still have to move, and you'll see James like motioning to people like, hey, you still need to move. You need to cut. So I don't think that all falls on James Harden. I definitely don't think the defensive issues are entirely James Harden's fault, in the sense that he wasn't matched up against Jalen Brunson. Now, the Knicks certainly took advantage of the way the Cavs operate on the screen. They switch. So it didn't matter who James was covering initially, whether it was Bridges, whether it was Hart, whether it was Landry Shamet. I mean, it didn't matter. That person was going to come and set the screen to create the matchup of Brunson on Harden. That wasn't something that the Cavs said, yeah, we want Harden on Brunson. It was something that the Knicks did to create that matchup. So I don't know if James deserves, all the blame for that. I thought the Knicks and Mike Brown developed that strategically. Now, I also will say Kenny Atkinson, to his credit, once James got burned a couple of times by Brunson, he then would double Brunson. If you look at the last 3 or 4 possessions where Brunson had the ball, the Cavs were doubling him with Harden and somebody else. So it wasn't just like, we're going to leave James on this island for as long as it's going to take. I mean, they were recognizing that Brunson was getting his shots off and sending a double. Brunson would get the ball out of his hands. The Knicks, to their credit, would then get it right back to Brunson. And he was on a heater. I mean, listen, guys, he hit some shots that were incredible shots. They weren't just layups. And the first 3 ball that he hit was in that fourth quarter, and it was a contested 3. So, again, do I think the Cavs are going to make some defensive adjustments tomorrow night? Absolutely. A guy scores 38 points, you've got to do something. But I don't think they're just going to change their overall defensive philosophy to say, well, starting in game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals, we're not going to switch anymore on screens. I mean, you've done this now for 82 and 15, 97 games. That's the way you defend it. So, but I do think there will be some adjustments made. But to just say we're gonna pull James Harden out, man, I think that's a tough sell too.
Well, I will say this. I think maybe some of the burn on him on the defensive side, I think there were certain times where he was not very good defensively, but I also think there were times where he was in very good defensive position, and Jalen Brunson made wild shots. I mean, Jalen Brunson made some
great,
ridiculous shots, and you got to give him credit
yes,
for that.
He did.
My concern is a little more on the offensive end. Stop taking the air out of the basketball, please, for the love of God. We will lose every time you do that. Every time.
I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was interesting because earlier you alluded to the fact that some of the comments that the Cavs made post game, and again, emotions are still raw at that point. I mean, but I did think it was interesting that James Harden said after the game, was quoted as saying, "We've got to speed the tempo up a little bit when we settle into that."
Yes, James.
I mean, well, right, but I mean, he's saying. But I think that involves cutting and moving, where I think the Cavs got stagnant. So I think if they're picking up the pace and forcing the ball down the floor, we saw them do that against Detroit. And once they did that, Detroit wasn't able to settle into that half-court defense and just beat and scratch and claw and choke the Cavaliers in a half-court set.
I don't like to take a lot from those post-game interviews because it is emotional, it's raw, it's whatever. I'm gonna maybe take a little issue with that, James. If you're gonna say that, then do it. But Kenny can't be coming out saying that James is one of their better defenders. We got to stop. We got to put that aside because no. But let's get off the bad stuff. Let's get off the bad stuff and let's look at the rest of the series, because I think there's this interesting dilemma that I'm having in my head, Tim. And here's the dilemma I'm having in my head. This series is starting for the Cavaliers very similarly to the way that the Eastern Conference Finals started for the New York Knicks last year, where, if you'll remember, the Knicks had a big lead with like 2 minutes to go in their game against Indiana, and Indiana just erased it, and they won that game, and the Knicks never recovered from that. And so obviously I'm afraid that the Cavaliers, a lot of teams that go through what the Cavaliers just went through and lose that game, find it very difficult to recover mentally, because now you're playing mental gymnastics to make sure it doesn't happen again, but maybe it kind of gets you out of your game. And you see it over and over again in the NBA. However, in this playoffs, Tim, this Cavaliers team have been as resilient as it gets.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, bounce back after bounce back after bounce back. And as pissed off as, frankly, I am about what happened last night. And I am absolutely pissed off, because that is it is the Knicks inflicted it, and so did the Cavs upon themselves. I'm sitting here going, well, okay, but look what happened. They lost the first. We all thought the series was over when they lost the first two against Detroit. Look at what happened when they were just losing games in Toronto, and we thought, oh my God, they're going to lose to Toronto, and they didn't. This team is resilient as it gets. So when you look at this team moving forward, like what's the thing that gives you the most optimism about them?
I love the examples you brought up, because I'll tell you this, as I was packing up and walking down to the bus under MSG last night, the first thing that came into my mind as I got on the bus was, man, I wasn't getting on a bus, but this is how I felt after Game 6 against Detroit.
Yes.
I mean, we thought it's over. I mean, they just got shellacked at home in a closeout game. Now we got to fly there on Saturday, go into that hostile environment. Can we really win there twice? And again, self-doubt sometimes tends to creep in. And I know for Cavs fans, it certainly did after Game 6. I mean, they were despondent. But
yeah,
when I got on the plane Saturday, there was just this workmanlike attitude from the players and staff. Like, yeah, we lost. But I think players, and especially professional athletes in any sport, they truly have an ability. They do, to have short-term memories. And listen, I thought Donovan's quote last night, and I know, Mike, you just said you kind of take post-game quotes with a grain of salt, but there's truth to the fact that, hey, we blew a 22-point lead. But if they had won by 22, if they had won by 1, whatever, we'd be down 0-1. It's one game, and it's a series of one-game series in essence. And you've just got to win 4 of those 1 games. So either way, they lost it. But I think the Cavaliers have shown, and I think you make a great point, they have mental toughness. They'll bounce back. I think of the R.J. Barrett game 6 up in Toronto. I mean, you're just a miraculous shot away from closing that series out and winning it in 6. And even though the Cavs were coming home for game 7, you thought, good Lord, are you kidding me? We just lost on that. And at that point, the pressure was squarely on the Cavs, higher seed, high expectations. And yet they came out with that attitude in game 7 against Toronto. We've got work to do. We're going to get it done. We got beat by a miraculous shot. We're forced to play one more game now, but we're going to win this thing. Same thing after game 6 against Detroit. I mean, I don't think there were a lot of people, except maybe on the plane and in the locker room before game 7, that thought the Cavs were going to win that game. But they found a way to get it done. Will they win tomorrow night? I don't know. But I don't think they're just going to crawl in a hole and say, oh, we're done. I don't think that at all. I think they're going to come out tomorrow night and give a hell of an effort. I think you're going to see a lot of force and let the chips fall where they may. But I think if people are saying the Cavs are done, they're toast, I think they say that at their own risk.
I don't like to live.
I didn't mean to stun you into silence, Chad Meyer.
Just the thing that makes me uncomfortable, Tim, is I don't know what team I'm getting from night in and night out with this team. That's why I'm like, because I want to be optimistic. I really do, and I am. Like I think this Cavs team is very talented and could easily turn this around and win the next 4. I just don't know. They've just been so up and down through the playoffs and even at points through the season. They make me nervous. Like I'm biting my fingernails going into every single game. I'm surprised I have any cuticles left, Tim. So you go into tomorrow night, right? And like I know you say you're not into Kenny Atkinson's mind, but like if we're putting your head coaching hat on for a second, Tim, what type of adjustments do you think they need to make? Because to me, it feels like they just kind of need to keep playing the way they played last night, except for the last 8 minutes. Just kind of keep doing whatever they did. That worked all game.
Maybe not the first quarter, because that didn't work so well either.
Well, sure.
Those middle 2 quarters were great.
No, I mean, Chad, you make great points. If you hadn't been plastering your wall where your daughter put the foot through it, this is what Mike and I talked about earlier.
The body print was just.
But no, I mean, to your point, the inconsistency, and it's been an issue all year long. But when this team plays to the level that they are capable of playing, and we have seen it, I mean, they're one of the elite teams in the league. And so I don't know if that's a mental issue insofar as just bringing it to that edge, game in and game out, or whether it's, just I think they do tend to relax when they get leads rather than just put your foot on the gas. We did see that in game 7 in Detroit, where they never let the Pistons back in it. But, what adjustments will Kenny make? I don't know. To your guys' point, quibbling with Mike a little bit about the first quarter, I thought the first 41 minutes that the Cavs played, they had it. I mean, they had it strategically. They had it schematically. The team, again, there were some turnovers, but for the most part, they were taking care of the basketball. Donovan was having a typical game 1 in a playoff series Donovan type of game, and it slipped away from them. But I think if they go back and just say, here's what we did, if you want to go with Michael's philosophy, 2.5 quarters, 2, 3, and half of the fourth, or even the first 40 to 41 minutes, if we duplicate that and then don't make the mental errors and the physical errors down the stretch, we're going to come out of here 1-1. I mean, think about the fact that Landry Shamit's 3-ball bounces around like a ping pong ball and goes through. If that doesn't go through, Cavs
game
win,
over.
I think.
Yeah.
And Merrill's
Everything.
shot.
Yeah, game over.
I mean, Mike Breen said, bah, he thought it was in. I mean, if Merrill hits that shot, we all go, oof. Cavs win. So again, there were a couple of things that went the Knicks' way. I'm not excusing that you blew a 22-point lead, but the Cavs, they're right there. And I think tomorrow night they're going to bring it. And I think again, if the Knicks think, well, we've sucked the air out of them, I think they're wrong.
Tim, you know I love you, and you know I've called you a mentor for years. You can squabble with me all you want. They scored 16 points in the first quarter, so let's squabble all you want. That's not their finest quarter. I wanted to know.
I thought defensively they were fine.
100%, I agree with that. I do want to hear from you, though. This was my last question for you. You brought it up, though. You stole my thunder. We're on mental wavelengths. The Mike Breen, Sam Merrill puts that shot up at the end, and Mike Breen goes, bang! Oh, it's out, and you're like, oh my God. I want to know. So I have to full on admit, I try to listen to you as much as I can.
The most missed shot ever. That's what that was.
I was in my living room last night watching the game, so I was listening to Mike Breen. I heard him say bang and then not bang, and Mike Breen can't fake bang me. Wait a minute. Huh? But Tim, did you do the same thing? Did you get faked out by Sam's shot? Did you go crazy for a half a second?
No,
and then not?
No, actually, I did not. No, I don't know what my exact call was, but I did not think I was not projecting that it was good, and then had to backtrack. The funny story with that is actually it's with R.J. Barrett. I called that shot no good, and then it went back down through. And I felt terrible about it because, and I'm sure Mike feels the same way today. Although Mike Breen's Mike Breen, and I know Mike, he's a great guy, good friend. But I felt terrible. Like I jumped the gun. Nobody's taking that ball coming straight back down through. Well, we get back from Toronto. And on the ride home from the airport, I'm listening to different stations, and I hear the Toronto radio play-by-play of the same call, and he initially called it no good. We literally had identical calls.
Yes.
With Cavs radio and Toronto radio, where the Toronto radio guy was Barrett off the back of the rim, no good. So it happens, right? It happens. You anticipate something, and as much as you try not to do it, it happens.
Well, listen, moving forward, the Cavs down 0-1 in the series. We've been here before. For me, the thing I'm most optimistic about, Tim, is that I actually think the Cavs match up well with the Knicks. I think the Knicks are far and away the most skilled team they have played so far, except for the fact that the other teams that they have played so far are kind of like the Monstars in Space Jam. They just have these freakishly humongous people at these positions that don't usually have freakishly humongous people. And it makes them difficult. Like Cade Cunningham being what he is and being as huge as he is makes him even more difficult. And not that size is the only thing out there, but like when Donovan Mitchell isn't getting dwarfed by whoever he's guarding, it's nice. When it's not that when the Cavaliers are on even footing physically, they can really impose different things. And between that and the matchup that I think is very even with these two teams, and with the Cavaliers' ability to show that they can bounce back, that they're not going to get down on something, and they're going to come out and they're going to learn from things. I still think there's plenty of reason for optimism, and I think that is still there, even if they don't take game 2, which I hope they do. But even if they don't, I still think there's plenty of reason for optimism. I still think this is a very tight matchup series between these two teams, and I think it goes either way.
Yeah, Mike, there isn't anything that you said there that I disagree with. Not one. And again, I don't think the series is lost if the Cavs lose tomorrow night. I'd love to go back to Cleveland even up at 1-1. But I don't think all is lost if it's 0-2, because I think the Cavs play so well at Rocket Arena. This could mirror the Detroit series. I do believe as you do. So as I said, we're on the same wavelength. Cavs match up well with this team. I don't think there's a matchup where you just go, oh, the Knicks dominate that matchup. I don't believe there is one on the floor. I think these two teams are going to have nip and tuck games the entire way. Nobody was more stunned than I was when the Cavs were up 20 in the fourth quarter. I didn't have that. So, yeah, I do think those who are just counting the Cavs out, they're doing it at their own peril. It reminds me so much of post-game 6 against Detroit when everybody said, oh, that was their chance. They're done. They're not going to win in Detroit. Really? Well, let's see what happens tomorrow night at MSG.
Well, you're going to be on the call. Sorry, I do have one more thing. How cool was it to call an Eastern Conference?
Last question.
How cool was it to call an Eastern Conference Finals game? Your first Eastern Conference Final game at Madison Square Garden.
At MSG. It's a special place. I'll tell you what, when that place gets roaring, and like it did in the fourth quarter, unfortunately, it is just an incredible environment. It really is. Knick fans are loud, and that place is just so special insofar as the acoustics and the atmosphere. That damn organ that's going every time the Cavs are on offense. I mean, it's intimidating, but it's special. And obviously to call an Eastern Conference final, my first, certainly has been a blessing. I'm looking forward to calling a few more and hopefully an NBA finals. But yeah, it's certainly it's been a special ride so far. What a playoff year. Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome stuff. And Tim Alcorn, man, it's been fun to watch you go through it. I like Madison Square Garden a lot more when it's quiet, to be honest with you. I like it a lot more when it's dead silent, like it was for most of the game. Hopefully the Cavs can get it that way at the end of the game tomorrow night. But if you want to, and again, nothing against Mike Breen and former Cavalier Richard Jefferson and those guys. Tim Legler was on the call. Nothing against the national crew on TV, but maybe hit that mute button and put Tim Alcorn on and Jonesy and Serena Winters calling the game on the radio while you're watching it.
We've coined a term for those people. We're gonna create a rock band after the playoffs called the Sinkers. All those people who sync us up to the video. Chad, you want to join the Sinkers? You want to be with the Sinkers?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Joe,
man.
what do you say?
I'm in. Let's do it.
100%. We're all sinkers.
Sinkers. There you go.
We're all sinkers. Well, Tim, we look forward to your call tomorrow night as the Cavaliers even up the series. We're just going to say it now. As the Cavaliers come back, they shake that off and even up the series, come back 1-1. But hope you enjoy every second of this. It's been a very fun run. And we look forward to catching up with you down the road, as we know we will. But enjoy the rest of this run for the Cavaliers. And I'll see you at Porco soon, yeah?
Yeah, let's do that. Absolutely. Guys, I love being with you. I love what you guys do. Congratulations on your success. And let's do this again during the NBA finals. How's that?
Hell
Done.
yes.
I'll be on time next time.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys.
See you, Tim. Tim Alcorn, radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I kind of felt bad through part of that because I had to vent.
Yeah. Of course,
he works for the Cavs, so he's got to be careful. And I know, and I feel like I laid some stuff on him. But
last night was frustrating as shit.
Well, what's frustrating is you feel like you're only going to get so many chances to steal a game.
Duh. And last night was the one to steal, by the way.
That was the game.
Yeah.
But I really do believe what I said at the end. I think the Cavs match up extremely well with the Knicks. And they're going to have a chance again tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. All right, Chad, first of all, you drinking a beer?
Yeah, sure am. Midwest IPA from Great Lakes.
Yeah.
You got that.
It was
the hazy one. That's the hazy one, right?
Yeah, it was the last beer we had in the fridge. So, and I didn't have time to go grab new ones this week. So that's what I'm drinking tonight.
All right. You tend to enjoy the hazy IPAs more than the West Coast IPAs. So,
yeah. No, listen. I think I'll fully admit, I think I've come around on IPAs, but I will never come around on West Coast IPAs. They're gross.
All right. We're going to fly through a segment. Then we're going to go back to a segment Joey and I started, and then we're going to finish with, I think, a very fun game.
Wow.
But what?
Just a lot of flying and zipping around here.
That's what we're doing.
There we go.
Yeah.
We haven't done Asshole of the Week, though. So let's do Asshole of the Week. And Chad, for being late, you're the Asshole of the Week. So why don't you start us off?
Oh, yeah, sure. My first one is Mike Breen for fake banging you. He should really bang you. Next is Kenny Atkinson. Next is Kenny Atkinson.
I'm just going to keep putting. I hope we could save this comment from Shooter
Words
McGavin.
of
There's
a
nothing
fake
worse than a fake bang.
Yeah, hashtag blue balls. It's it's that makes up for great. And that my next one is, and Tim couldn't say it, but I'll say it. Kenny Atkinson for not calling a timeout last night. How could you not stop that fucking run that the Knicks were on? Call a timeout. Like it's just stop the momentum. That's like basketball 101. Stop the momentum. Call a timeout. All right.
We couldn't talk about it with Tim because I didn't want to put him in an uncomfortable position.
Yeah.
I brought it up a little bit, but Kenny Atkinson had, I think, maybe his worst night as Cavaliers head coach last night.
Yeah.
And it started with the game, some of the rotations, not being able to get some of his guys in check. Like Dennis Schroeder just started chucking threes, put his ass on the bench chucking threes. I like when Dennis Schroeder's out there. I like when he's like a drive and kick kind of guy.
Yeah.
If he's jacking threes, put his ass on the bench.
Right. Right.
Some of his rotations were horrific.
God.
And then after the game, Chad, his press conference was like kind of defiant almost.
Yeah.
And kind of like James Harden. James Harden's one of our better defenders. Kenny, I couldn't say this. I couldn't say this with Tim here, but I can say it with you guys. Kenny, shut the fuck up. What? Listen, if Kenny Atkinson was, I'm a fan of Kenny Atkinson. I don't know what the hell happened to him last night. I'm a fan. But if he was in front of me right now, if we had him on the podcast, I would tell him to shut the fuck up with that conversation. What are you talking about?
Right.
James Harden is a horrific defender.
Not good. He's
Horrific. I don't think he's quite as bad as people say. Maybe that's what Kenny was trying to get at. But like, no, he has not ever been one of your better defenders. Not ever, not in any situation.
No.
It's okay to not say things.
Like literally through his entire NBA career, he has not been a good defender. So like,
yeah, and
we're doing.
Again, I asked this with Tim, and Tim defended it. But Shooter McGavin says not subbing out Harden the entire fourth quarter overtime and calling a timeout. I asked about subbing out Harden, and Tim defended a little bit, but like Donovan Mitchell got subbed out at points. And he is 10 times the player that James Harden is at this point. And he's younger. Why is the oldest dude on the team playing every minute?
Yeah.
I do not understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. All right, Joe, asshole of the week.
Yeah, thanks. So much for the quick segment. I don't know, like Chad, you coffee or tea guy?
Huh?
You coffee or a tea guy?
Oh man, wow. Depends on the day, actually. But mostly lately I've been coffee.
Kind of the same way. What about Mike? What about you?
I'm a coffee guy.
I'm going through a bit of a big like tea fix right now. You need it in the morning, kind of gets you up, gets you focused for the day, gets you really awake, right?
For sure.
And so it's a really good drink, especially for adults, to have some type of coffee or tea in the morning.
Okay.
What's not an appropriate time for somebody to consume a coffee or a tea is from Taco Bell.
Oh,
and specifically the strawberry passion fruit agua with fresco.
I was going to bring this up.
What?
It's
what?
Gave his daughter Lucy before the podcast and says, "Hey, Katie, you have to deal with this. I'm going on the podcast."
Yep, that did happen.
This totally erases me being late. What a dickhead.
Yeah,
This
sure
happened.
does. So, Mike, you're the asshole of the week for giving your daughter caffeine at God knows what time, but probably way too late.
Well, it started at about 5 o'clock, but she didn't
Pretty late.
finish it until probably about like 8 o'clock. So,
I
listen,
gotta go, Katie. Sorry.
that's kind of what happened.
What a
I was going to bring that up. So I'm glad Katie texted you and told you to call me the asshole of the week. That's fine. Well, I'll start with that. I'm going to double shot that asshole of the week with the fact that the Taco Bell employee is a total asshole because I pulled through Taco Bell and it's called like the strawberry passion fruit refresca or something like that.
Yeah.
And we were going to the softball game. Lucy was with me and we had to just grab a bite to eat. So I just grabbed like a quesadilla for Lucy and I got her the strawberry passion fruit refresca. And in the drive-thru, very specifically, I said, do those refresca drinks have caffeine in them? And she goes, "Oh, no. There's no caffeine in this."
Come
So
on.
I said, "Okay, cool. I'll take one." Turns out there's 52 milligrams or whatever of caffeine or what, 52 grams. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, the
But it's
base is green tea.
It's fucking loaded with caffeine. It's fucking loaded with caffeine. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm the asshole that I didn't like go on my phone to like double check it or whatever. But she was so, and it was like a middle-aged woman. It wasn't like a teenager. She was like, "Oh, no. There's no caffeine in that." I thought it was like kind of going to be like a strawberry lemonade type deal. And I was like, "Cool, let's do it." It had a lot of caffeine in it. Lucy was upstairs just bouncing off the walls. Bouncing. I am to blame for this, and I accept my assholery in this, but I will say I did ask the employee, and they told me no. And so I feel like there's a part of me that like tried not to be the asshole, and I know I still am, but like that employee's the asshole too.
No,
Yeah. My asshole of the week coming in was LaShawn McCoy. Did you see LaShawn McCoy?
No. What shady
Deshaun
do?
Watson?
He decided to weigh in on like Deshaun Watson's going to be the starter, and he comes out and he goes, I got a ton of contacts and I got a ton of ins in that building." No, you don't.
Who?
Listen, I got a lot of respect for LaShawn McCoy. His NFL career was great. He was a great running back. Oh my gosh, he was fun to watch. Shady man. He was fun to watch. And now he's got a really good podcast and he says a lot of things and fine. But you don't have any contacts. Like maybe he knows some players in the building. They don't know anything either. He came out and he said, "Deshaun Watson's going to be the starter for the Cleveland Browns. I got contacts in that building. I got a lot of sources." He called them sources. I got a lot of sources in that building. No, you don't. I like tried to rack my mind on the Browns of like who he could be talking about. It's nobody.
Was Andrew Berry there at the Eagles when he was with the Eagles? Is that like
maybe? Do you really think I believe that Andrew Berry's spilling shit to
No. But I'm saying, is there any staff there that was at the Eagles? Like, I mean, that's the only like way to even try to twist this into he has some sort of contact.
It was
But
such
who's
a
gonna
clear.
tell LaShawn, or who's going to tell Shady McCoy the Browns are starting Deshaun Watson this year?
It's such a clear pull shit out of my ass. But I'm just gonna be real confident and say it.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna say it and be real confident about it.
Yeah, good for him.
Sources here. What are you talking about? LaShawn
Shady
McCoy.
sources. Shady sources. Your sources are shady.
Knock it the hell off. All right. Now we're going back to quick because I'm going to pull this back up, Chad.
Okay.
Bam.
What's
So
bam?
here's what
are we
we were
bamming?
doing. Here's what we were doing.
God.
We were going through the Browns schedule. We're not playing the schedule game. I don't care who you think's going to win or lose.
Okay.
We're doing a quick thing on what you think like the most interesting part of the game is. So Joe and I ran through the first column. Then Tim got here a little early. We talked to Tim. So what we're going to do, instead of all of us talking about everything, we're just going to rotate it. Each person is going to just talk about what they think the most interesting thing about each game on the schedule is. And then we're going to go into our last segment. And so, Chad, because you haven't been here and we haven't heard anything from you on the Cleveland Browns and their schedule so far, we're going to start right up here with the Tennessee Titans that found out recently that Nashville is going to be hosting a Super Bowl when they have that new stadium put up. Tennessee Titans, Sunday, October 25th, 1 p.m. Chad, what do you think the most interesting thing about that matchup is?
Man, I wasn't going to look at this again until August. I don't know. I think the most interesting thing is to see how Cam Ward's going to come along, right? I mean, they made a lot of investment in the offense this offseason, so I think Cam Ward's development and how he fares against that vaunted Browns defense. I think that's going to be the most interesting thing about that.
Okay, throw Carnell Tate and how he does against that defense into it because got to give the Ohio State guy a little love. Joey,
sure, I guess
we talked about the Steelers at home Thursday Night Football. Which, by the way, their only game that isn't at 1:00 this entire season, and I freaking love
Amazing.
it. Amazing. Now, some games can get flexed. LOL. But that's it. Joe, Pittsburgh, 1:00 Sunday, November 1st.
Fuck the Steelers. We're gonna win. We're gonna win. We're gonna win.
Wait,
Aaron Rodgers is
I don't
leaving that
wanna
game
know
in a
wins
body
and
bag.
losses. That's the most interesting thing.
Wait, fake
Oh.
fuck or real fuck?
I already gave
Bang,
my
it's
take on the
bang.
Steelers. It's the final time we have to see Aaron Rodgers all year. It should be rejoiced. Win or loss, we should celebrate. It's very exciting. Nothing about that team is super exciting outside of the fact that he's retiring this year.
Hey, what do you say the three of us, the Wednesday before that game, all do an ayahuasca thing? And then that way we can talk about it on
We
the
should-
podcast.
We
in
should
honor.
we should live stream that game live, like while doing ayahuasca.
Hell yeah, I'm in.
Let's go.
I'm in.
Let's go.
All right, my game is the Saints. Again, this is a 3-game road trip. So at Tennessee, at Pittsburgh, and at New Orleans. And I think the Saints have a chance. I'm not a believer in Tyler Shuck. I will never be a believer unless he really proves it over the course of several years. I think he had a decent rookie year. I'm not really sold on Tyler Shuck, but I do think you got Chris Olave down there. Then they draft Jordan Tyson. Defensively, I think they're okay. Offensively, I think they're going to be pretty okay. I just, again, don't think that Tyler Shuck's going to scare anybody ever. And I think this is a game the defense should really put the clamps down in New Orleans, and the offense should be able to get moving. So is this New Orleans Saints offense able to get some things going? I don't think so against the Browns, but that's the most interesting matchup to me is their offense versus our defense. And I think it's a clear runaway win for us. Chad, at home, Sunday, November 15th against the Houston Texans.
There's really nothing interesting to think about a 6-3 Browns win. Like these are just two juggernaut defenses that are going to shut each other's offenses down. I think so. I think this is going to be one of the more boring games of the season. But going back to the Saints real quick, for some reason, and I don't even really have a reason for this, but Travis Etienne on the Saints seems weird to me. It just feels
super weird. Very weird.
Yeah.
I love your take on the Texans, by the way. Love that. And their defense is
unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Real good.
Joe, you get a fun one because after the bye week, we're back at home on the road come the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be really interesting that, the team is fresh off of making their Cancun plans for the offseason. So they can probably pencil that in right after week 18. But it's just, obviously the Fernando Mendoza hype. You get to kind of see this in action at this point in the season. You're going to know if he's good or not at this point. I can't imagine this Raiders roster around him is going to put a good product on the field, but I am excited for what he can offer that franchise going forward. So yeah, I'm excited to see him play. I think that'll be really interesting, and we'll see if he's a worthy first round pick or not.
A lot of very interesting things about that Raiders team, but I think you're 100% right. That brings us to the Bengals. And listen, this is interesting because we usually play the Bengals very early and then very late. And now we're playing them very late 2 times. Listen, you lose Trey Hendrickson, you bring in Sexy Dexy. I think they've made some improvements to that defense. I still don't know if it's going to be a great defense. Joe Burrow being healthy, we'll see. This team should be really good, to be honest. The Bengals should be really good. I still don't know if I really trust what they've done with the offensive line, but they should be really good. To me, the most interesting part of this game is, does Myles Garrett put Joe Burrow in the ground 4 times? Because that's what he tends to do against the Bengals. It is, does Myles Garrett say, F everything you've done, I'm going to put Joe Burrow in the ground 4 times. And it just seems to be the thing to watch every time the Browns play the Bengals. So that, to me, is the interesting thing here. Chad, oh my God, Chad, I think you get the most fun game on the schedule for the entire season. Cleveland Browns at home against the Atlanta Falcons.
I mean, I think the single most interesting thing is going to be all the hype, right? I mean, everybody's going to be going into this game with, not revenge, really. It's going to be, and now it's going to be, you're facing Stefanski for the first time, and yeah, it's the hype going into this game is going to be interesting enough, and it's not even going to be from either team because Stefanski isn't really like a hype guy, and Todd Monken really isn't a hype guy either. But just the energy surrounding this game from a fan perspective is great. But yeah, I mean, obviously the Browns should dominate Stefanski's 64 tight end sets, and yeah, I think it's going to be fun.
I absolutely love the fact that this game is in Cleveland. I would have been pissed
sure.
if this game was in Atlanta. I love that it's in Cleveland, and I would still take Stefanski as the head coach. I will go down. I will go down until my dying days as a Kevin Stefanski supporter. I think he's going to be fine in Atlanta. I like him as a head coach, but I love that this game is in Cleveland. That place is going to be juiced up. All right, Joe, then they go back on the road. And again, I don't know why it feels like we just play the New York teams every year. But we get the New York Giants, Jackson Dart and company, the Giants at the MetLife.
Two things. 2 games at MetLife in a season for any team that is not New York should be a crime. Like, we should not have to play 2 games at MetLife.
It feels like it happens all the time
at MetLife. That is just like the worst turf ever. I don't want to go there. That they're one of the most interesting teams this offseason, I think, because I think out of most head coaching hires, like, they got probably the biggest upgrade for what they needed in a head coach. And you have John Harbaugh. That it'll be so interesting to see how he develops Jackson Dart, because Jackson Dart last season was, he had so many design runs that ultimately took him out of many games last year due to injury. And you bring in a coach like John Harbaugh, who has coached Lamar Jackson and has helped really Lamar blossom into the elusive and just all around dangerous runner that he is as a quarterback. Either that is going to work very well for Jackson Dart, or it's not, because he's not Lamar Jackson and he doesn't have that elusiveness factor to his running game. And so I'm so curious to see how this team shakes out. I think they're going to be incredibly well coached. And I think this is going to be definitely the harder of the New York games that we'll face. But I'm very curious to see how that team develops over the course of this year.
Yeah. I get the Ravens. I had the Ravens the first time around. I get them at home, the Ravens in December. And to me, the most interesting thing about this game is, what are both teams going to look like? The health of both teams, to me, is the most interesting part of this. The Ravens took some losses, Tyler Linderbaum and Isaiah Likely, and obviously their entire coaching staff. And again, motivation. We were just talking about motivation of Todd Monken. Phil said it in the comments. Motivation of Todd Monken to beat John Harbaugh. Well, what about motivation of Todd Monken to beat the Baltimore Ravens and prove himself against Jesse Minter and his coaching staff? And the Ravens, look what they did, and Trey Hendrickson and all that. To me, it's, what do these teams look like at the end of the year? Because I think you've got guys that, with the Ravens, could be breaking down. At some point, Derrick Henry's going to start breaking down with his usage rate. And when you start getting into late December, what's he going to be looking like? Is Lamar Jackson going to make it through the entire season? Because we know that doesn't happen all the time. Mark Andrews, he's way more important to the Ravens than he was last year or the year before that, when they had the double tight ends that they could really rely on. What's their offensive line looking like? I just think, to me, the most interesting thing about that second game is, what is the health of both teams? Because I really feel like the healthier of either team is just going to win that game. Chad, you get the Indianapolis Colts.
Nothing. Ever since I realized, like, I have the Colts, I've been trying to think about an interesting storyline and interesting thing about the game, and there really isn't. The Colts are just kind of there. Like, they're a good football team. Shane Steichens, I think, is a good coach. I guess is Daniel Jones going to prove that he's not a flash in the pan and earn that contract? Is he going to stay healthy? I mean, obviously Jonathan Taylor is always really good. But the Colts are just, they're kind of the AFC, have become the AFC South's Pittsburgh Steelers. They're just hovering around like a 500 football team every year.
Yep.
And they're not exciting, but they're not boring either. I don't know. I mean, there's really nothing I can point to where I'm like, yep, that's it. That's the one. That's what I'm looking forward to see in this matchup. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there really is anything that interesting about this Colts matchup.
I've got two quick things. Is Alec Pierce going to prove himself to be a $29 million a year wide receiver? No. But also, if you're, we talk about Ohio State a lot on this podcast. You got the JT Tuimoloau effect on the Colts, and that's just something fun to watch for Buckeyes fans. So there's that. Joe, bring us home with the Bengals. Last game of the year. It feels like this continues to be the last game of the year, and it's going to be the last game of this year.
Yeah, the Bengals on a Sunday at 1 p.m. because these teams ain't playing for anything, man. Let me tell you. Maybe they will. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah, I just I like when these games are shootouts. I like when they're like high-powered offenses on both sides going back and forth. Like there can be some of the most entertaining AFC North matchups that we have to watch, and not as stressful as watching the Steelers and Ravens. And so I hope this team comes out the high note. I think we kind of already covered the Bengals beautifully.
We did,
Michael, already. So I don't think there's much to add from my end on it.
And we'll do the schedule game with Cameron Justice before the season, but this is the schedule. And I think there's interesting things all the way around. I think you guys did awesome at bringing up some things I hadn't thought of. So appreciate that. All right, guys, I want to do a draft, and then I want to actually, quick hitter. Joe, this is just for you, Joe.
Joe, let's go.
Just for you, Joe. You're getting a quick hitter.
Oh,
Guardians offense. Prolific.
They have an eye. They all have an eye. Like they are taking their walks up and down the lineup. They are capitalizing when the pitcher makes mistakes. That Travis Bazzana 2-run home run yesterday. Oh, my
good eye, mate.
Gosh, good eye, mate. I mean, we have our young studs just exploding out of the gate between him and DeLauder. You have Angel Martinez, who's solidifying himself as an everyday player and a necessity on this team. You have Brian Rocchio. Brian Rocchio, who I don't think is far off from an all-star conversation. The way he's playing and hitting the ball, he's the most clutch hitter we have on our team. I still love him in the 9-hole. Like, I think it's just great to turn over the lineup with him at the bottom of it. And then you have Quan that is coming around. Like, he is taking his at-bats. He had a great line drive to the opposite field single today that immediately was nullified by Patrick Bailey swinging at the first pitch and popping out territory. But, I mean, this team's hitting. Jose's hitting again. There's not a lot to dislike about this offense, and you're still getting really, really good starting pitching. You're getting some good contributions from most members of the bullpen. This is, probably top 3 teams in baseball right now, maybe even higher than that. They are playing out of their minds right now.
Buster Olney on Twitter said this is the best Cleveland offense in years since April 29th. In 20 games, they are 14-6. They have got about a 350 on base percentage.
Oh, yeah.
And they're averaging 5.5 runs a game. Yeah.
Well, and in the past, they've had very good on base percentage, but they have not gotten those clutch hits. They have not gotten those hits that just put the game out of their reach for our opposing team. And they're getting those almost every time those opportunities come up now. And, it's a good stretch.
Offensively, I'll always love Jose. I love the potential of Bazzana and DeLauder. And I say potential because I think they're just going to keep getting better. And that's hard to think about. But I got to tell you, man, the person I'm rooting for most on the Cleveland Guardians, I think my favorite Cleveland Guardian at this point is Angel Martinez. I just think he has everything to just be a stud. He is the reason they won tonight.
Yeah.
That triple, that just smashing a triple into the gap in extras where you get that first run home and then you put him on third base with no outs. So he's going to score in extras. and they win by 1. Like, God, I love this kid. And I think he's clutch. I think he's always kind of had the clutch gene. I mean, how many walk-off hits has this dude had? But now he's putting it together in all the other times too. And I love watching him. I love watching him.
I think Travis Bazzana is your future leadoff guy. Bazzana. And I mean, guys, like I think we finally started developing hitters. I mean, if you look up and down that roster down in AAA too, between Cooper Ingle, Ralphie Velasquez, Angel Janao, what's his name? Everybody just up and down that roster. There are studs coming up. So there's a bright future for this offense.
And a quick shout out to Stephen Vogt for just making a change that needed to happen. Unfortunately, Stephen Kwan was not playing well.
Yeah.
And Stephen Vogt made a change, and the change he made has unlocked something. He put Jose Ramirez in the 2-hole, which I think is a smart move.
I called that.
Yes, you did. It's a very smart move. DeLauder in the 3-hole. Now DeLauder's protecting Ramirez, and it's working for both of them.
Yeah.
Just a shout out. And Manzardo's getting going a little bit. Like, yes, this is fun. It's fun. It's fun to be a Guardians fan right now. And Detroit is the worst. Okay, last thing I want to do before we get out of here, and we're going to do a draft. We're going to do a quick game draft. I thought maybe we'd get into hockey. We don't have time for it. I know the Golden Knights are kicking the shit out of Colorado tonight, which is unbelievable.
Oh, hell, yeah. Colorado has scored a goal now, and they're putting the pressure on. We'll see if they can get a couple.
When you don't have Makar, though, it's difficult.
It's tough.
But let's get into our last segment before our cheers of the week. I want to do a draft with you boys. I want to get back into doing these fun games every single podcast. And so we did the roommates draft last week. And this week we are going to do the Cleveland Sports Villains draft, which is one we haven't done before. We've done this for 6 years and we have never done the Villains draft. And so I used the random wheel generator online to pick the order. And Chad has got his fingers crossed, and I don't know whether he's going to be happy or sad about this. But with the first overall pick in the Cleveland Villains draft is me.
Fuck. All right.
Damn.
With the second overall pick in the Cleveland Villains draft, it is who wants it?
Yeah.
Joe gets number 2.
Oh, what? I thought you were doing this randomly.
I did. But I was just wanting to see who really wanted it.
What the fuck?
Chad, you're number 3. But that also means you get 2 of the top 4 picks. We get the question in the comment from Phil. Villains that played for or against Cleveland? Both.
Oh,
baby.
Both.
Oh, yes.
All of mine are for Cleveland.
It is Cleveland Sports Villains, period, which means it could be somebody that played against them, somebody that played for them, and I have the number 1 pick, and there's only one person you can think.
Only one.
And there's another one that I think is very, very close, and I'm interested to see where you guys take him because I think it's extremely close. I think it's closer than anybody wants to admit. But there's only one guy. There's only one guy that is the ultimate Cleveland sports villain, and it's the person that took the Cleveland Browns and took them out of the city. Art Modell, piss on his grave. I hope he's rotting in hell. Art Modell is the number 1 Cleveland sports villain.
Yeah. How convenient. Mike ends up number 1 in the Cleveland Villains draft.
Whatever, you asshole. I'm taking Art Modell because he is, again, I try not to wish ill of the dead, but I wish ill of him. Forget him. I hope he's burning in hell. He is a terrible person. So Art Modell, number 1
He
pick.
is a terrible person.
Joe.
I don't know if I have a solid 1B pick after.
Oh my God.
But
There's such a good one.
There's so many. I mean, I'm gonna miss the good one, but I will pick Deshaun Watson for my first pick.
Woo! Yeah.
That name's gonna be tied next to mine in this order, but he deserves villain number 2.
Again, I'm not going to ever fault the Browns for being desperate for a quarterback. But everybody's going to want to always kill the Cleveland Browns for that trade. And it's Deshaun Watson that is the reason that trade has
Yep.
He is the number one culprit. That is the worst trade on the planet. The number one culprit. He sucks.
Wasted away a Super Bowl contending team's window.
I hope he enjoys taking Instagram pictures in Italy forever. Chad, you get back-to-backs, man.
Well, then, my first pick. We're doing 3 total, right?
We're doing 5.
5. Holy sheep shit.
Hell yeah.
Jeez.
Okay, well, my first pick. I think this is a pretty obvious one too, and that's going to be John Elway.
Ooh.
John Elway, the you horse tooth son of a bitch, just making me cry when I was a kid, and I think everybody knows the reason why. John Elway is the guy that led the last drive. He's the reason for the drive that we call it the drive that kept us from going to the Super Bowl. So yeah. Fuck you, John Elway.
Fucking horse teeth.
Fuck you, piece of shit.
All right, Elway off the board, and you get another one.
And then I'm going with Ted Stepien.
Whoa, I love that pick.
Yeah, Ted Stepien. Just he's drove the Cavs franchise to such a rock bottom place that the Cavs sucked for years. And I mean, they named a fucking rule after him.
Yes,
where you can't trade away multiple first round picks in consecutive years. So it's first round picks in consecutive years.
They thought like they were going to be like the next up and coming team, and then Stepien just said, "No, we are not."
Right? Yep. No. Goodbye. Right. So Ted Stepien and John Elway.
Chad, outstanding start on it.
Thank you,
Joe. Nice. I'm starting to shake because I think my number 2 is coming back to me, but I want to hear what you're going to say.
I'm sticking with mine of all either like involved in the Cleveland organization or a Cleveland player. And I'm going to go with Johnny Football for number 3. Johnny Football, man, what a dick. That guy I mean, it's one thing if you come in and play below expectations, but the way you handle yourself, Billy Janzel, all that stuff was just traumatic as a Brown. Like, this is why we are so pissed off as a Browns organization and fan base because of players like Johnny Manziel and the way that he ruined 3+ years of this franchise. 3 years.
Outstanding pick. Again, we've named him as a perennial asshole of the week. You can name him asshole of the week any week you want. And Joe, the fact that he's talking shit about Cleveland, the only team willing to give him a chance, the only team. Remember, when he left Cleveland, it's not like another NFL team was like, well, you come to us. Hell no. The only team in city willing to give him a chance, and he got named the starter and went to Vegas, and then he got put on the 3rd string. I almost wish Mike Pettin was still the coach because he had to deal with that. Unbelievable bullshit. That's a great pick. All right, I get back-to-backs, and my number 2 pick. I mean, one of the great villains in the history of sports comes to me. I cannot believe I'm getting Art Modell and this player. The only player that has ever straight up, blatantly looked at a blind man in his face and lied to him. Carlos Boozer. Oh my God. I think he should have been the number 2 overall pick. What are we doing here that he is back to me? Carlos Boozer. I got to take you guys back. 2003, 2004. The Cavaliers draft Carlos Boozer in the 2002 draft. And he was a stud power forward. 2003 draft. So now you got Boozer and Ilgauskas. 2003 draft, you get LeBron James, and all of a sudden this team is starting to come around. And then the contract starts to come up, and Carlos Boozer tells Gordon Gund, a blind man, he tells him, oh, if you release me from my contract to sign me to a bigger contract, I'm all in. And Gordon Gund releases Carlos Boozer from his contract, and he signs with Utah. The biggest dick move outside of Art Modell ever, outside of him moving the team, easily the biggest dick move ever made in the city of Cleveland. Carlos Boozer, total villain.
Good one.
And then he painted on his hair the rest of his life. And I do not understand. It looks like he put What's the stuff that you can like? It's like the stuff you can like slap onto a hole and it stops a leak. What's that stuff called?
Oh, flex tape,
Flex seal. He flex sealed the top of his head the rest of his life. That's what Carlos Boozer did, and I love that I got that pick. Okay, man, oh man, I'm gonna go super off the wall with my third pick. Rain delays. Humongous villains in Cleveland sports history. Humongous villains. 2016 World Series. The Jason Kipnis foul ball. I'll never forget it. But then the rain delay, as the Guardians pitching staff was just dominating, and they finally settled into Game 7, and they're going great, and it feels like the Guardians are going to win that game. They get the Rajai Davis home run to tie it up, and then boom, rain delay, and then boom, the Cubs take the lead, and they never recovered. I cannot help but say that a rain delay is one of the biggest assholes in Cleveland sports history.
All right, then.
It's fair. Don't think we're going Mother Nature, but yeah, I can't argue.
It. She deserves it. All right, we're going back to Joe.
Yeah, this one, there's reasons for this guy to be a hero, but he was also big dick. Kyrie Irving.
Ooh.
Give me Kyrie. I will never discredit what he did in 2016, so I want to take that off the table.
I'll discredit him. Fuck that guy.
The way he left this team and the shit he talked about Cleveland when he went to Boston. Fuck you, dude. Go read a book about the Earth being round and orbiting the sun. And
I love that. I will never get over him going to Boston being like, it's finally good to be back in a real sports city. Shut the fuck. You were in the realest sports city. There are no sports cities realer than Cleveland, you idiot. And you know what? He deserves everything he got after that because his career was never the same as it would have been if he would have just stayed here and formed that unbelievable team with LeBron and Kevin Love, and they would have won more titles, but instead, he had to be a baby about it. That's great. All right, Chad, back-to-backs.
Yeah, I've got personal issues with Kyrie Irving. Fuck that guy. Thank you for 2016, but
I know
fuck
you
that
do.
guy.
I know you do.
So, all right, I got back-to-backs, right?
Yep.
I'm going to go with Kelly Olynyk.
Oh, that's such a good one.
For basically ripping Kevin Love's shoulder out of the socket and preventing the Cavs from going to the 2015 finals. That's what it was, right? Wasn't that the year? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So that was what an asshole. I mean, for reasons. I mean, it was clear that he did it on purpose, like purposely hurt the guy. So go fuck yourself, Kelly Olynyk. And then
do you guys understand? That's such a good pick. I honestly think that if that doesn't happen, I think the Cavaliers beat the Warriors because remember, Kevin Love got hurt, and then they had to overextend, and Kyrie Irving gets hurt.
Right.
And they had no shot in the 2015 finals.
Was that the fractured knee year?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And Kevin Love had his shoulder. I think if Kevin Love never gets hurt, Kyrie Irving never gets hurt, and the Cavaliers go healthy into that series against the Warriors, and they beat them, and then they beat them again in 2016, and all of a sudden, that Warriors dynasty is a Cavs dynasty, and it never got to happen, and I think it all stems from Kelly Olynyk. I think that's a great pick. Chad, go ahead.
And this next one, this fourth is going to be like, it's going to be like a twofer, but they're part of the same team, so I'm going to make it like one, my fourth. Craig Counsell and Edgar Renneria.
Oh, you bitch.
For fucking up that 97 World Series. I mean, Mike Hargrove fucked it up by taking Mike Jackson out, but for that sack fly and that single alone, Edgar Renneria and Craig Counsell, fuck you.
I'm just writing it down as the 97 Marlins because
motherfucker.
All right, Joe.
Colorado almost tied it up, but Vegas.
I was gonna go a Jose Mesa route on that. But I don't know if that. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna still go the Jose Mesa route on that. Yeah, we'll just pile on the 97 Guardians.
Done.
And, Indians, and we'll throw Jose Mesa in the mix.
Man, there's so many. I know I got two in a row, and then you got one more, and Chad's got one more. Oh my God. There's so many
I got
left to pick. I don't think that I can leave this draft and say that Michael Jordan isn't one of the biggest villains in Cleveland sports history.
Yeah. I thought about him too, for sure.
We've had to live with the shot forever. We will have to live with the shot forever. It will be on Michael Jordan's ultimate highlight reel for the rest of time. And it's all because Larry Nance fucked up and didn't force him out to the out to the midcourt line, and he let him catch the ball moving towards the basket. And everybody blamed Craig Elo, but it was really Larry Nance that did that. But Michael Jordan just over and over again against the Cavaliers, just ultimate villain. And then I get one more, and God, I got so many that I would take. We'll do a little honorable mention at the end. But I am going to take, oh my God, hold on. I lost my pen. There it is. I'm going to take the Dolans. I'm just going to take the Dolans.
Oof. That's a tough one.
No, it's not.
I think it is a tough one.
I'm going to take the Dolans because I think again, we've talked about this over and over again. I think in the last decade plus, almost 2 decades, Cleveland's had one of the best owners in sports. Cleveland has a horrific owner, but he's desperate to win. He just is bad at it. And Cleveland has an owner that just does not give a shit. And that's the Dolans, and that's what it's been since they bought the team from Dick Jacobs. And the fact that I've heard from firsthand sources that somebody had to tell Paul Dolan when the Guardians were eliminated from the playoffs, and they had to tell him who plays for the team. Like, fuck that forever. I hate having an owner that just could not give less of a shit. And to be honest with you, while all I want to see in my life is a Guardians World Series championship, I have to say, until David Blitzer buys the team, I don't really want to see it, because I have to say, I think I would erupt with anger seeing Paul Dolan standing there in like a post-game presser after like game 6 of a World Series holding the championship. I'd be ecstatic. Don't get me wrong. I'd be thrilled they won the World Series, but then having to watch him act like he gives a shit. Watching him act like he gives a shit would drive me crazy, because I know for a fact that he doesn't. And that is villainous to me from an ownership perspective. So Paul Dolan specifically is going to get a villain for me. Joe, your last pick.
I'll keep it Guardians. I feel like this shouldn't have fallen to the last round, but Emmanuel Clase.
Ooh, wow. Yeah.
You can't tell me that we're going to trade for a generational talent in the closer role, and then he's going to waste away his entire career because he's betting on his own pitches. Fuck that dude.
Yeah, fuck that dude. Yeah, Clase deserves all the fucks.
And all the credit to the front office and the team for just being able to basically be like, that's not a problem. We are totally fine. And we are still winning. But that is we're eating that money right now.
Yeah, it sucks.
I believe we're eating that money this year.
Yes, we are.
It's well, no, we're not signing anyone else. Thank goodness we have talent and a good organization, a good scout system, a good farm system. Good thing we have all that. But that had a potential to really derail this organization, but it was just detrimental to, I think, the development of Cade Smith. I think if he had a more gradual runway into the closer role, I think he had the potential to be even better than Clase was.
And yet he's still leading the American League in saves.
I know. Well, because we're winning a lot. But yeah, this is frustrating.
All right,
and then
Chad,
you don't know what
one.
Luis Ortiz's involvement was before coming to Cleveland. So, did he bring Luis Ortiz in and then ruin his career too? That sucks.
Sucks. Chad, Mr. Irrelevant.
Ben Roethlisberger.
Oh, it's such a good one.
Yeah. Terrible human. Terrible. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
All the way around.
Couldn't just right. For how many times, how close we've got to beating him like so many times and just couldn't stop making play. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
Easy one. All right. So I had Art Modell, Carlos Boozer, Rain Delays, Michael Jordan, and the Dolans as my villains. Joe, you had Deshaun Watson, Johnny Manziel, Kyrie Irving, Jose Mesa, and Emmanuel Clase. That's a good list, Joe, as opposed to the last week when we did a draft and your list was terrible.
The roommates
Chad,
are so subjective.
Chad, you had John Elway, Ted Steppe, and Kelly Olynyk, which it's my favorite of your picks. The 97 Marlins, which I just gave you the whole team, and Ben Roethlisberger. It's a good list, and your last pick might be the strongest of. If we talk about value picks, your last pick might be the best value.
Oh yeah,
in the draft. I've got some honorable mentions because I want to get these people out there.
Sure.
There's two people that have said real nasty shit about Cleveland that deserve to be on this list. Joakim Noah, who has done a lot to repair his image. If you didn't watch his,
he's born again.
If you didn't watch his thing on YouTube about trying to make peace with the city of Cleveland, it's really fun to watch. Go watch that. But Joakim Noah and Ichiro, I don't know if you guys remember this, but Ichiro said something to the effect of if I ever say I'm having fun in the city of Cleveland, I'll punch myself in the face because I'm lying.
Yeah, go punch yourself in the face then, dude. Punch yourself in the face.
Hey, why don't you run out of the box before you swing, idiot?
Well, I mean, yeah, like LeBron in the decision.
Yeah, well, LeBron's on my list. LeBron,
I think that's fair to put on the list.
Oh my God, it's one of the most villainous things that's ever happened to the city of Cleveland.
Right?
Yeah,
horrific. Pete Rose.
Yeah.
The All-Star game against Ray Fosse, barreling into him in the All-Star game, effectively ending his career. And Ray Fosse was on his way to being great.
Right.
And he effectively ended his career in a meaningless All-Star game to just barreling over his ass. Pete Rose deserves it. Rest in peace. Other guys on my list, Joe Buck.
Yep.
Purely for the 2016 World Series. The Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's a great guy, but that 2016 series.
Here's
I agree.
Schwarber.
I like Joe Buck a lot, but that 2016 World Series, he desperately wanted the Cubs to win that.
Here's Schwarber. You should see the cock on this guy.
Yeah, Schwarber.
Yeah.
How about James Harrison?
Okay. James Harrison.
Yeah, I thought about him.
Concussing Josh Cribbs and Colt McCoy and Muhammad Massaquoi. He concussed everybody.
Yeah.
He was dirty. He was dirty.
Headhunter.
Dirty,
James
dirty,
Headhunter
dirty.
Harrison.
Dirty.
Sam Weish.
I had three more. I had Draymond Green. Come on.
Yeah.
Draymond. Straight villain.
Yeah.
I had, for the exact opposite reasons as the Dolans, I picked the Dolans. I was down to these two. These were my two that I was going to pick last. The Dolans or the Haslams. On one side, you've got an ownership group that could not care less about what happens with their team. And on the other side, you have an ownership group that desperately cares about what happens with their team, but they're just terrible at making it happen. The Dolans and the Haslams probably belong in the same conversation, but the Haslams for sure, assholes, villains.
Yeah.
And then you brought it up, Joe, but Luis Ortiz getting caught up in that. The Guardians made, I think, some pretty smart moves that offseason. And really it felt like that offseason a couple of years ago, everything was centered around getting Luis Ortiz from Pittsburgh and putting him in our rotation. And it feels like they did everything to make that happen. And then he gets caught up in the gambling scandal. I think Clase is a bigger villain, but an entire offseason of pretty big time moves from the Guardians was ruined because Luis Ortiz decided he was going to start gambling and throwing pitches and shit. Terrible.
Sam Weish. No, we're not from Cleveland. No.
Shut up, Sam.
Fuck you.
You wish you were from Cleveland, you Kentuckian.
Yeah, a piece of shit in Kentucky.
I saw a lot of people say Albert Bell. Sam Weish is a good one.
I mean,
is Josh Gordon the villain, or is the fact that we gave a shit whether he smoked weed the villain?
The
They all
NFL,
smoke.
the NFL is the villain for that. For like just
They all
it's not
smoke
that big
weed.
of a deal. It's
How
not that
about
big
Ray
of a deal.
Farmer? Pretty good. Remember the phone? Remember the phone call incident with Ray Farmer? He had the phone connected up to the box. Oh God, what a moron! George Kokinis. We still don't even know the full story about George
It'd be
Kokinis.
amazing. We got to get Eric Mangini on the show.
Yep.
See if we can get that out of him.
Any other ones we're missing?
I'm sure there are.
Yeah, there's a ton.
Yeah,
There's a ton.
There's probably
I still-
someone from like the 40s and 30s that we're missing.
Joe, you're not going to like this, but I still, in my head, I thought Jim Thome and Manny Ramirez. They were really the first. They were the first two to leave for more money. They were the first two to like, we're out, peace out. We can go get more money somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I know you don't like this, Joe, but especially Jim Thome, Jim Thome. Manny
Hey,
basically, Manny
I was-
basically told us he wanted to leave. Manny basically told us he was leaving. Jim Thome came out and said, "I'm not leaving. I'm staying here." And then he fucking signed with Philly. There's
I know.
absolutely that.
I choose to enjoy the years he was here.
Yeah, I bet you do. Last one for me, Hugh Jackson. What a dick. What a total.
Yeah.
I drive this bus. This is my car. I drive the bus. You stupid idiot.
Trust him on Cody Kessler. Trust him.
Yeah, trust me. You gotta have
Corey
to trust
Coleman,
me.
maybe
1
Corey
in
Coleman could be
31.
on
You
that list
stupid
too.
idiot. Stupid idiot. We got a lot of villains in Cleveland. Just a ton of them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
We've had a lot of
All right.
heartbreak.
we haven't had a great sports history.
Let's get
Willie
away-
Mays for making that catch in the 48 series.
54.
Well, yeah. Whoever traded away Rocky Colavito, fuck
Mhm.
you.
Terrible. So fuck you. All right, let's go away from the villains and let's wrap up the show with our cheers of the week. So who wants to start?
Cheers to me for having a good skin check today. I went to the dermatologist for my first ever skin check, and I'm like, I'm good to go. I'm healthy.
Hell yeah. Shout
Let's
out
go.
to your skin check. Cheers
Yeah.
to that. Joe, cheers of the week.
Let's just do a cheers of ourselves because we don't do that. We should do a little like self-love. I play a lot of chess. I just got over 900 on like the rating scale. It goes up from there. Like the pros are like 26 to
I don't know what that means.
3,000. It's a scale. I'm like edging on going past the beginner phase of
Joe's
chess.
over here edging.
And we're fake banging.
But
now
I'm
we're
also
edging.
playing in a tournament right now. It's online. But I've made it past the first round of the tournament, and I did lose a single game. So I'm very excited about
Let's
that.
go.
Shout out to you, Joe.
Good job,
Fuck yeah.
man.
Fuck
You're
yeah.
going to be facing that Sven or that top player in the world before you know it.
Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah. My cheer of the week is Dan Gilbert. We have horrific ownership with the Guardians. We have horrific ownership with the Browns. And then we just have this dude in Dan Gilbert that outside of the Comic Sans LeBron James incident and outside of maybe being overly reactionary early in his ownership career has been just the best. Just like he's the ideal owner. He's the ideal owner. He is passionate. He gives a shit about whether they win or not. He is at all these games. He gets in with the fans. He gives away seats to every game. He spends more money than any NBA owner anywhere. Like we have all these conversations about like mid-market and big market and all that. Yeah, well, in the NBA, nobody spends more money than the Cleveland Cavaliers. And I want everybody to remember that forever. And I know maybe it doesn't result in the championships or whatever, but man, this guy tries to win. And he
There's
loves
no
trying to
expense.
win. And then what's he do? Game 7, and this is why he's getting cheer of the week. Game 7, Cleveland Cavaliers at Detroit Pistons. And again, remember, Dan Gilbert is a Detroit guy through and through. He loves the city of Detroit. That's his home. That is where he has built his businesses. He loves that city. What'd he do? 25 freaking busloads of people from Cleveland for free that they go up there. They get a free ride, free tickets, free hospitality, free hotels, free everything. It is an all expense paid trip to go to Detroit, to go to Game 7. And what did the Cavaliers say after that game? The fans made a difference. The fans made a difference in that game. Dan Gilbert gets a cheers. Everything he's been through, too, the massive stroke. I mean, Dan Gilbert can't walk. That is horrific. the loss of his son, Nick, man, devastating. This dude has been through a lot. He has also given a lot. And he is, in my opinion, the ideal sports owner. Give me Dan Gilbert, cheer of the week. And he might get, we've given a lot of perennial assholes of the week. I think Dan Gilbert might get a perennial cheer of the week.
So
He's what you want a rich person to be, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of rich people that take advantage, and, you know, maybe Dan's not completely blind to that, but like, for how charitable he is, for how much he gives back to like the people that support him, that says a lot about somebody that's in a very powerful position, and just good to have some of those out there.
Yeah. All right, boys. Man, we went long tonight, but we had a lot of stuff to talk about, and we had a good time. So let's get out of here. Let's finish up with our thank yous as we leave here tonight. Big thank you to the OBR for hosting us. Get over to theobr.com, hit subscribe, become a part of the OBR and the biggest, largest, oldest independent Browns coverage site in all of Cleveland. Make sure you're tuned into theobr.com. Make sure you hit subscribe. Big thank you to Tim Alcorn, the radio voice of the Cleveland Cavaliers, for joining us. It was not always a pleasant conversation because we had to talk about the bullshit that happened last night, but Tim also does a great job of really breaking it down and talking about why we should still be optimistic about the team. And I believe him, and we'll see what happens tomorrow night in game 2. But big shout out to Tim Alcorn for joining us and hanging out with us. And as always, our biggest thank you goes out to all of you. The comments were going pretty good all the way through till the end of the show. We still have got about 500 people in here. So big shout out to everybody that has joined us and hung out with us, even though we made it a longer than normal show. We love you. We appreciate you. And remember, we always go live Wednesday at 9 o'clock. If you can't join us, you can still catch us on their podcast version on Apple, Spotify, wherever, or you can catch us on YouTube, Twitch, whatever later. So we appreciate you for supporting us. That's going to do it for episode 313. For Chad over on the east side of Cleveland, for Joe over in Seattle, Washington, I am Michael Keefe. Go follow us all at Garage Beers Chad, at Garage Beers Joe, at Garage Beers Mike, and make sure you follow the show at The Garage Beers on all the socials, and we'll see you next week for episode 314. Until then, as always, cheers, everybody.